Hi, Trojans. So today I'm going to talk about response validation in Google Forms. This is a great way to get instant feedback and then also to make sure your students are answering the questions in the way that you want them to answer it. So just a quick showcase of that. This is a Google form, a lock, if you will, that I created for an escape room that my students did. And so for this was like their answers. This is to see if they've solved all the clues. So I have response validations built in. So I'm going to type my name for the name lock, and I'm going to see that it's wrong. It says try again, proper capitalization counts. And then for the 5-color lock, I'm just going to copy what I have here. They had a form that kind of gave them, if they answer correctly, it changed the colors for this. And so let's see if this is it. And it says not yet, try again. And see, this is a great tool of like having them kind of check and to resolve it again. So response validation looks a little different based on what question you're asking. So if I have a short answer text here, so like I just want them to put in a number, or I just want them to put, obviously this question won't match a short answer text, but if I just wanted them to put in the correct number, or if I want them to put in like an email address or something, then I could use a short answer text. So to set up that response validation here, I'm going to go to these 3 little dots and click on response validation. Now, if I'm doing a math problem, or if I want them to insert a number, I can just have them insert a number, and then I have a ton of choices here. So that answer, when I put in response validation, it needs to be a number, and then I can have it equal to or less than equal to, or as you can see, a ton of options here. So if I want them to have a specific number that they're putting in, then it needs to be equal to, and then I can put in that number. And then anything that is not this number, I can put, oops, try again, or solve it this way, or whatever I want to put in as my response validation here. So this is a really great way of that kind of instant feedback, having them kind of solve that problems, kind of figuring out those ideas. With short answer text too, I can also put in text. So if I have like, I'm doing a vocab word or something that it needs to contain or not contain, I can even set it up for an email address. So the answer has to be an email address. Or if I'm doing like websites, they need to find a site that explains this concept. Then I can put it as a URL so that the text has to contain that. It must be a website that they're putting in. So again, as we're like looking for finals next week and you need some study guide ideas, this is a great way. Have them go find resources for the content that you're studying in the class. So just another great way that we can do this. And then again, it won't let them submit that answer unless it's there, unless it's a URL or an email address or whatever you have it set up as. The other thing, when we have a long answer text, you have slightly less options, but one of my favorite things in this response validation here is the length. So I can set a minimum character count to say 75 words, which is about a paragraph, or 150 words, which is about 2 paragraphs. So this is a really great thing. I don't know about you guys, but I'm tired of the answers of just getting IDK when I want them to write a full paragraph. So with that, we have our length here, our minimum character length, and put in that number. Again, you can put in something like needs to be longer, or use your sentence frames or whatnot. So I can have my number be 75 characters, and if they don't meet that requirement, it won't let them submit it quite yet. Again, you have other options here. So maybe you want the opposite. Maybe you want them to be really precise in their responses. So you can also set in a maximum character count as well. You also have like regular expressions. So again, looking at like it contains or matches or it doesn't match. Those are other options that you have with this long answer text as well. The other thing is, if you are going back to our length requirements, you can also put in links directly. So if I go to my description here, I can type in like use the frames and then include the link. Just copy and paste the link from whatever you're using, and it will take them to that website. So they'll see a hyperlink of whatever website that you're putting in there. So these are just really great ways that we can give instant feedback to make sure that they're answering fully, to kind of solve those IDK answers, or like those just kind of very minimally, like they just put in something because they know that it will go through. The other thing that we have with multiple choice here, you don't have the same response validation options. In fact, you don't have any response validation options. But for multiple choice, you can have them go to a section, and my thing is here. Let me move my face. You can have them go to a section based on an answer. So with this, when I turn that on, and what I have on for this one is that, if they choose this option, then it will take them to the second section. If they choose this option, it will take them to the third section. So you can kind of build in these. Now, this is really great for choice boards, which is actually what this form is as well. Or you can have them go through, and if maybe this is a practice or a study guide. So if they select this answer and it's wrong, it will take them to the section that kind of tells them how to do the problem again. So you can kind of build these sections, and these sections can overlap. So I can have at the end of this section, maybe it takes them back to the beginning, or it takes them to whatever section is the next question. So you can kind of build these. You can make it as simple or as complicated as you want, but this is a really great way for them to kind of check their understanding as they're going along, immediately in the form as they're doing their study guide or their assignment, or even in your quiz, if you're, however you're building this in. So that's one way to get that kind of that response validation built in for multiple choice. So like for example, like how this works is like their choice form here. So they got to choose which type of article or what article they wanted to look at for this, and then be able to answer questions directly based on that article. So I love the go to the based on their answer going to a certain section, because I think it really helps kind of solidify the understanding. It makes it a little bit more customizable with the student too. So they're getting that differentiation built in right in the Google form. So it's a great tool to be utilizing. It can be a little complicated to set up and a little tedious, but it's definitely worth it in my opinion. Going back to our response validation, the other thing I want to showcase here, if I normally wouldn't have the period set up as checkboxes, but I wanted to demonstrate this point. For checkboxes, I can also set in a requirement too. So that response validation in this is going to look like they need to select at least two. So if you have them like select at least two options, or maybe at most, like you don't want them to select all of them. So maybe at most they only can select two. Or they need to select exactly two. So like in order to get this answer, in order to answer it, they have to select two or three or however many that you put in there. So this is really great kind of practice, and again, getting that instant feedback. So Google Forms is way beyond using it as a test. Using it as choice boards, using it as study guides is a great way to kind of build this in. Okay, so to demonstrate what this actually looks like on the form, so I want to show you my choice board here. So with this choice board, so to demonstrate what this looks like, I want to show you this choice board. So they had a choice of articles that they can look at. So I'm going to type in my name, my period, and then also now I get to choose which option that I would like to look at. So first I'm going to, let's say I want to look at this first article here. When I click next, it's going to take me to that article so I can see the hyperlink that's here, and then I can answer the questions based on that article itself. Once I answer this, and I don't have response validation on, so I can just put in my one letter answers. When I click next, it will take me to the next section. So I had my students choose two articles to look at. So then it gives them this second choice. So now I can say, I want this one. And again, it brings me to the options based on that particular article. So I can put in my evidence here, and then my reflection, and going in to submit it. So this is a great way to build in differentiation right there, and students can be working on this independently as you're helping students, or as you're working with students one-on-one, or as for asynchronous Mondays, or just even as study guides, because based on their response, if they get it wrong, it could take them to a different section where it helps them out, and then you can kind of build loops that way as well. So if you have any questions building this, I really love using Google Forms as an assignment, and really kind of building this and thinking of how we can build, escape rooms or just differentiated learning within Google Forms. So please reach out to me if you need any help setting this up. Have a great day, Trojans.